bring change for a search?
No, you get straight onto this typewriter. I want these stock-taking sheets typed up and in the mail by tonight.
Well, I'll see you later, then.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Mr. Fletcher, is there any chance I could see the governor?
Well, she's busy at the moment, but I'll let her know that you want to see her.
Oh, heard about the party tonight?
Yes, are you going?
Oh, I suppose so. Bloody nuisance, it's so late, though. My old man gets cranky enough at the hours I work.
Well, it is a special occasion.
Oh. Well, I must admit, a week ago I wouldn't have bothered. Vera's not exactly my best friend. Still, that business with Terry Harrison was a bit much. Oh, you can't help feeling sorry for her.
Anyway, he reckons when everything's gone through, I'll end up with a house and a few $100.
Oh. Yeah, well, that's beaut, love.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with the house, though, Lizzie? I mean, it seems ridiculous just to let it sit there like I did with me mum's place.
Yeah, that's right. At least you could rent it and get some money out of it.
No way. Gordon let the place to some ratbags when Sid was sick and they practically wrecked the joint.
Yeah, but hey, if you leave it empty, anything could happen. I mean, vandals, deros, squatters.
Oh, I don't know what to do. And even if I get out, I don't know whether I fancy living there on my own.
Well, you could always get Mrs. Powell to come over and lock you in every night.
Just like old times.
Yeah, well, I reckon Bee's right, Lizzie. I mean, you got to get somebody in to look after the place.
Oh, I'll think about it.
This is a private party, or can anyone join in?
No, I was just thinking about Vera. Think she'll make a good governor?
Oh, maybe she will. Maybe she won't. She'll have to modify her views quite a bit, though.
Do I detect a note of sour grapes?
No, not at all. No, I must admit I was a bit put out when I first heard she was being considered for the job, but... No, well, what the hell. Good luck to her. No, I just feel sorry for her. I have this thing with Terry.
Yes. She's had a tough time over the years. A mother who left her an emotional cripple. A couple of disastrous love affairs. And now, witness to a ghastly murder. Oh, I just hope she's able to make a fresh start at Barnhurst.
All this concern is very touching. But I don't need pity from anyone.
Vera, I didn't mean that I was...
I'm sure you meant well, Meg. You always do. But I'm quite capable of taking care of myself, thank you very much. I'm off duty, Mr. Fletcher. I'm going home to change.
You will be back later, though, won't you?
Of course. I told you. I can't miss my own farewell party.
Paige?
Oh, Mrs. Davidson.
Mr. Fletcher said you wanted to see me.
Yes. I met Myra Desmond today.
Yes, I know that.
Well, she and I had a long talk, and she made me realize a lot of things.
Yes?
As I've only got a few weeks left here, I was wondering if I could be moved back to H Block. I feel as though I should apologize to the others for the way I've acted.
I admire your courage, but I don't think it's very wise.
Please, Mrs. Davidson, I've done a lot of thinking. I've come to understand what the others must think of me. I've really been very narrow-minded.
Yes, you have. And I'm glad you've realized that. But I still think it would be rather dangerous.
Most of the trouble was my fault. All I want is the chance to try to make amends.
Well, all right. But at the slightest sign of trouble, I'll have you moved back here. Do you understand?
Yes, Mrs. Davidson. Thank you.
We'll kick off about 7. The screws usually leave us alone for the last hour or so.
Yeah, and they'll be short-staffed tonight,
Yeah,
too.
that's for sure.
Lizzie, you wanted in the governor's office.
Oh, what for this time? Can't anyone get a bit of peace around here?
Gee, Lizzie's popular today.
Hey, Jude. Has anyone got Vera going away present?
You kidding?
I just thought it'd be a nice gesture.
Yeah? Well, I can think of a better gesture. Holy hell, what are you doing here? I wouldn't have thought you'd have the nerve to come back.
Judy, please hear me out. I've done a lot of thinking about what's happened, and I've realized what a pain I must have been to you and the other women. I asked Mrs. Davidson if I could come back here so that I could apologize to everyone. I really am sorry, Judy.
Yeah, well, okay. But I'm not the one you got to convince, huh? Come on.
So, who's making up the sandwiches?
May and Tina.
Fair enough.
Looks like we're going to have another guest for the party tonight.
That's not a guest. That's a gate crasher.
Well, I think you ought to listen to what she has to say.
I asked to be transferred back here because I wanted to apologize for the way I acted before. I realize now just how impossible I must have been. I'm no better and no worse than any of you. I'm very sorry.
Well, there's a turn up for the book.
Will you accept my apology?
Well, you're not going to fall for that, are you, Bee? She's just buttering us up for some real good reason. I bet she'll end up playing stoolie for the screws.
She seems pretty genuine to me.
I'm prepared to give her the benefit of the doubt. Could be handy having someone on our side, working in reception.
Yeah. Let's get her to do something for us to prove what she says.
Oh, please. I've only got a couple of weeks left here. Don't ask me to do anything to jeopardize my release. My family couldn't stand it.
See?
Took you long enough to get yourself sorted out.
Yes, I know. It was talking to a woman today called Myra Desmond which finally made me see sense.
How do you know Myra?
Oh, she's been looking after my kids while Don was in hospital. She's been really marvelous. And then there was that ridiculous thing about my early release.
What?
Well, Mrs. Morris was going to apply for one for me because of the trouble with my family. But the problem is, it'd take 3 weeks to get it through, and my sentence is up in 2.
Well, that's the department for you. Anyway, if you've been sorted out by Myra Desmond, I'd say you're well and truly sorted. I'll speak to the women tonight, but I'm warning you. Because of the way they feel about you, it'll only take one little thing to set them against you again.
Gordon, what a surprise. What are you doing here?
I came here this afternoon because I had a phone call from my father's solicitor.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Shaw, lovely bloke.
He tells me that my father's entire estate has been left to you.
Yeah, that's right. Wonder why Sid'd do a thing like that.
I wonder. Couldn't have been something you said to him that made him change his mind, could it?
Eh?
Mr. Humphrey, you're not suggesting...
My father's will was made when my mother died. The entire estate was left to me and my family. There was no question of changing it. Until he met this person.
Mr. Humphrey, there is no need to be insulting.
What sob story did you tell him? How did you get a meeting out of your hand?
I never did. We was just good friends.
That is enough. Mr. Humphrey, I have given you special permission to see Lizzie, and you are abusing that privilege. I think it would be a good idea if you left now.
That house belongs to me, and I intend to have it.
Are you leaving, or must I call a guard to have you escorted out?
I never did, Mrs. M. Honest.
Mrs. Birdsworth is not well, Mr. Humphrey. How dare you speak to her in that manner?
My father was also very ill. He was obviously a great deal sicker than I realized. However, I'll be seeing my own solicitor about this matter. Mrs. Birdsworth would be well advised to settle out of court.
Well, it's not going to be easy. She can be very determined.
We'll see about that.
What an unpleasant man. Is my typing ready yet, Julie?
Oh, Lizzie's calmed down a bit. I sent her back with the other women. I'm sure they can be of more comfort to her than I am.
Yes, it's most unfortunate. Well, I hope we get a good response from this. We need some volunteers for the attendance centre project.
Well, I'm sure you will. I imagine they'll be breaking their necks to work outside for a while. They have in the past.
Yes.
I'll pin it up on the notice board if you like. I'm going past that
Thanks
way.
very much, Meg.
Bloody men.
Struth, what are you going to do, Lizzie?
Oh, no, I haven't thought about it. Let him have it, I suppose.
Oh. You're not giving up without a fight, are you?
Well, what's the point? I never wanted anything from Sid anyway. I don't want him taking me to court and saying all those things about me in public.
Listen, was Sid off his rocker before he died?
Of course he wasn't.
So he made his last will and testament being sound in mind, if not in body. And his last wish was that you have the house, Lizzie. Not his ever-loving son who made his whole life miserable.
Yeah, that's right. You know, my family, they're contesting my father's will right now in the States. But that doesn't alter the fact that he knew what he was doing when he made the will.
Yeah, and if somebody had contested my mum's will, I would have fought him, Lizzie.